Good Sunday morning and welcome in to Hilltop Huddle. We're in our studios here, nice and warm, November. I'm Riley Underwood, joined alongside Ari Feinstein. And Ari, we're going to start by talking about the big game yesterday. Syracuse traveling out to the West Coast to play California in an ACC battle on actually the Pacific Coast, but they got back on track with this one, and the main reason for that was passing efficiency in the passing game. 7 different receivers caught the ball in this one, and Kyle McCord was on fire.
McCord right here, straight to Pena. Pena has been such an asset for this SU team with 11 receptions and 97 yards, as we see McCord launching another pass to him for the easy first down.
Yeah, these passing first downs were big, and then it goes over to Oronde Gadsden. We wanted some more from him pre-game, and he gave it to us.
Yeah, absolutely, Riley. Gadsden has been so amazing this year, eclipsing the 100-yard total mark against UNLV, as we see Pena here again making a tough catch along the sideline.
Gadsden also eclipsed the 100-yard mark in this game against California. Jackson Meeks also had a couple nice catches. The next one, the only receiving touchdown of the game for Syracuse.
Jackson Meeks making a tough grab against the sideline, spin move, and he gets absolutely leveled, but holds on for the touchdown.
Doesn't matter. He was happy with that one, doing a signature celebration after that. One more for good measure. Kyle McCord threading the needle in the third quarter to his man, Oronde Gadsden.
Gadsden, such an asset for Syracuse this year. As we see the passing yard total, McCord was really spreading the rock with 323 passing yards.
And the thing that sticks out to me in this one is the turnovers. The big point of emphasis coming into this game, how good California is at forcing turnovers. Came into the game second in the nation in turnover differential, and Syracuse, 0 turnovers. This was the first game all season that California has lost the turnover battle, and that was a big reason they won.
McCord, we were a little bit worried about his 5-interception game against Pitt, but he really had a nice bounce-back performance against Cal.
And a big reason that he's been so successful are his 3 big targets, Oronde Gadsden, Trevor Pena, and Jackson Meeks. They've been doing it not only yesterday, but all season long, and it's a big reason why he's been able to rack up so many passing yards throughout the year.
Jackson Meeks, he has 6th in ACC in receiving yards, 2nd in the ACC in receptions, and his biggest asset is the speed that he brings to SU on those vertical routes where Kyle McCord could just launch it up and give Jackson Meeks an opportunity to make a nice grab on the sidelines.
And Oronde Gadsden, they move him between tight end and wide receiver, but he can really do both. He has the size of a tight end, but the speed of a wide receiver. He has wide receiver hands, too. Definitely.
And Trevor Pena, what an asset he's been this year for Syracuse. He leads the ACC in receptions, and he has just been amazing. Good job by Syracuse for unlocking his talents in his junior year.
And it hasn't been just the passing game that's been so successful. It's been the rushing game, too. Especially yesterday, LaQuint Allen scoring 2 touchdowns on the ground.
LaQuint Allen making a name for himself here at SU. He is so dynamic in the passing and rushing game. As we see here, LaQuint cutting to the left and taking it to the house for the score. LaQuint has truly been on fire in the second half of the season.
31-yard touchdown run from Allen, doing a little dance. That was his first of 2 dances he got to do in the end zone, making a man miss and a goal line situation and scoring the touchdown.
And how about this, Riley, making the grab on the left side and hurdling the defender. Wow, what a catch from LaQuint, or what a hurdle from LaQuint Allen.
Well, what a catch, too. Dumped it off to those screen passes. That's where they've been so successful in this one. And it's not just the rushing that stands out to you, it's the receiving, too. This guy has some of the best hands of a running back in the entire nation.
These are receiving numbers right here. The 50 reception or wide receiver numbers here. 50 receptions, 393 yards, and 3 touchdowns. One of the biggest things I want to point out about LaQuint Allen is how everyone was so worried about him at the beginning of the season. He only scored 2 touchdowns, only eclipsed 200 or 400 or so yards. But the second half of the year, over 500 yards and 12 touchdowns. He has truly been immaculate for the Syracuse team.
Yeah, and also the past few games, the rushing average, the yards per carry, hadn't really been there for LaQuint Allen. This one, nearly 5 yards a carry, stepping it up. And it's also been the man delivering the ball to all these targets. Kyle McCord, the Ohio State transfer. He's been so dynamic. He's 2nd in the nation in passing yards, right behind Miami's Cam Ward.
Kyle McCord, he has thrown for 300 yards in every single game this year except for 1. This passing game has truly been revolutionized this season by Fran Brown, and it has been the anchor of this Syracuse offense.
Yeah, he came into the game yesterday leading the nation in interceptions, but he's also one of the tops in passing touchdowns as well. It's what comes along with this air raid offense that Fran Brown and company has put in to the Orange, and it has been working. They've won 7 games so far, and they just got a big ACC win yesterday. But last week wasn't so big of an ACC win. It was an ACC loss when they traveled down to Chestnut Hill to play Boston College. A big reason for that loss was the rushing defense.
Yeah, Riley, the rushing defense truly didn't have one of its best games against Boston College. Gave up 313 rushing yards. BC was doing everything to attack this rushing defense. Jordan McDonald here, 133 yards and a touchdown, and Kyle Robichov with almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Boston College took the win 37-31. Star quarterback Thomas Castellanos, he went out early, so Boston College only threw 13 total passes for 65 yards. Instead, they decided to hammer the ground, 51 carries for over 300 yards and over 6 yards per carry for the Eagles.
Yeah, and after this game, Fran Brown was so adamant about fixing the run game heading into this week against Cal, and it definitely showed in this week's matchup.
And we actually had a chance to sit down with 2 of the defensive anchors for the Syracuse football team. For that interview, we go over to Mackenzie Olson.
Thanks, guys. Today I'm joined with Derek McDonald and Justin Barron, 2 linebackers on Syracuse football. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Mackenzie.
Of course. Can you guys talk to me a little bit about your role this year on Syracuse football, given the new coaching staff and the new team?
Yeah, it's definitely been a little bit different. I think for both of us, we're kind of older guys, so it's been transitioning from a new coach, just being able to kind of move into the future and set this program up for success.
You know, for me, I've had a little bit different path than a lot of guys. You know, I came into college starting at wide receiver, and then I made the transition to safety after my first year, and then with new staff, about halfway through the season, I made it down to linebacker now. So it's been a different kind of journey for me, but it's been exciting nonetheless.
Awesome. And given your new defensive coaches and their plan for the season, talk to me a little bit about their defensive plan and how it's different than the previous coaches you guys have had here.
Yeah, I think especially this season, we've really kind of changed what we can do on defense from game to game. Our game plans are a lot more dynamic depending on who we're playing and kind of just where we're at, moving JB down a linebacker after Marlowe got hurt and being able to move from 3 down linemen to a 4 down front. We just have a lot of different pieces that we can move around, so it's very dynamic.
Yeah, going off what Derek said, I think Coach Robinson's biggest goal is to be multiple, right? He wants to put guys in the best position to be successful no matter who we're playing, but he wants to do what's best for the defense and put guys in a position to be successful.
Totally. And given your guys' season, I know you guys have been having a lot of away games, a lot of time on the road. You guys were gone almost all of October. Talk to me about what it's going to be like traveling to Cal and traveling cross country and how you guys are preparing for that.
Yeah, it's definitely been kind of a different year as far as travel goes. We've already been to Las Vegas this year, which is further than we've gone, much further than we've gone in the past couple years. But just kind of going along with that, we've been able to prepare, and we left a day early for Las Vegas, which we'll do for Cal this week just to get adjusted to the time change. So it really isn't that bad. I think it's more of the flight back when you get back at 7 in the morning the next day. That's kind of tough, but it's not too bad because we get there early enough.
Yeah, the biggest thing that changes for us is the preparation, right? Like we miss out on a day of practice, so we land and we have to practice when we get there. Like Derek said, the flight is kind of, I don't know, you can say daunting, I guess, but like it's just different from what we're used to. We're used to those 3-4 hour flights down to Florida to play Florida State and Miami, but now we're flying across the country to play guys who are in the ACC now, so it's just different for us.
Mm-hmm. And I know, Justin, you're on your last year here as a 5th year, and Derek, you have another year as a senior. Talk to me about sort of the years of the ages of the players on your team and sort of what the future of SU football is looking like.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of experienced guys, a lot of guys that are probably going to move on to the NFL or whatever they're looking to do in the future after this year. So next year's team will definitely be different. I think we still have a lot of pieces that will return, and obviously we've seen Coach Fran is really good at finding people and developing talent. So I'm not too worried about how the roster is going to kind of refill in the offseason.
Yeah, going off of that, I think Coach Fran does a great job recruiting. All the young guys he's brought in I think they're talented, more talented than our recruiting classes were. You know, so him being able to turn the roster over quickly and do it with the new era of college football with NIL and being able to get multiple time transfers, it's really important for him and his staff to be able to turn that over. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the future.
Totally. And building off your guys' success for the season, I know you guys have already secured 6 wins, so you guys are bowl eligible. Do you guys have any bowl predictions?
Not yet. I mean, I think we're just focused on winning as many games as we can, finishing out the regular season the right way. Hopefully win the last 3 and then get to somewhere warm for a bowl game. That would be pretty nice.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say too. Hopefully it's just somewhere warm. Obviously you don't really want to focus on that during the season, but you try and go week by week and hopefully end up somewhere warm at the end of the season.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Mackenzie. And it's interesting how they've utilized Justin Barron with all those injuries in the secondary. They've kind of moved him to that hybrid linebacker role, playing a lot inside the box. But let's check out where Syracuse stands in the ACC. Next week, they have an out-of-conference game against a pretty good independent Connecticut team. And then for their season closer, Senior Day, they're playing a really good Miami team.
Against Miami in 2 weeks. That would be a huge, huge, huge win for this Syracuse squad and a way to go into the bowl game with a ton of momentum.
Syracuse tied for 4th in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And how about Southern Methodist last night, barely hanging on against Boston College? They've had a pretty good 2-week stretch.
Yeah, they've truly been a remarkable team this year. Had a big win a couple weeks ago against Pitt, and they've just rode their momentum to the top of the ACC standings.
And we see yesterday, California, yesterday's opponent, they are 1-5 in the ACC play. They only need 1 win to become bowl eligible, but all those losses have come by less than 1 score, not closing games out for the Golden Bears. Syracuse out of the chances to play in the ACC title game, but still in the running for a pretty good bowl game. And we had a doubleheader yesterday. It wasn't just the football team. Men's basketball was in action in the Dome, went to double overtime. We'll tell you all about it after the break.
Unprecedented excitement and built a talented roster. The Dome has a new look too, with chairback seats throughout. Season tickets start at just $99. Don't miss any of 7 Dome games, including Miami's first visit in over 20 years. For tickets, visit cuse.com/tickets.
Seconds on the clock, gonna show 'em what we got to offer. If you want, you can make it to the top. Gotta focus on the goal. The winner takes all. Pass the ball. Reach for the stars, no stopping us. Winner takes all. The winner takes all.
The highly anticipated Syracuse football season is here. New Orange coach Fran Brown has ignited unprecedented excitement and built a talented roster. The Dome has a new look too, with chairback seats throughout. Season tickets start at just $99. Don't miss any of 7 Dome games, including Miami's first visit in over 20 years. For tickets, visit cuse.com/tickets.
Thanks for sticking with us and welcome back in to Hilltop Huddle. We just talked about Syracuse football's big win yesterday against California, but now let's talk about their razor-thin game against Youngstown State. They've barely hung on to those first 2 games, first against Lemoyne, then against Colgate, and now they play Youngstown State team, and that was pretty close too.
Yeah, Riley, it sure was. And I don't know if Syracuse fans can really feel good about these last few games against Lemoyne and Colgate, and now with Youngstown, as you see Eddie Lampkin driving to the hoop with a nice pass to Donnie Freeman to give Syracuse a quick lead early.
Oh, that pass was sweet behind the back. He has really good vision for a big man.
Yeah, and here we see J.J. Starling. He completely took over this game, had a career-high 38 points, as we see him yell for the layup there.
Jaquan Carlos comes up with the steal. He's been kind of quiet these past few games, but a nice bucket there.
And here, nice rebound in transition, passing it off to Jaquan, to Starling for 3. Bang! JJ absolutely on fire in this game and led the Orange to victory.
J.J. Starling took over late in this one. Now there's a pass over to the Choppa, Elijah Moore for 3.
I love the energy that Choppa shows, the confidence of taking that shot in that situation. Syracuse certainly loves to see that there.
Donnie Freeman with a huge block. Chris Bell over to Lampkin. The hops. Not there, but the finish is.
Lampkin was so awesome in this game. He scored 20 points and 13 rebounds, his first double-double in Syracuse uniform.
This game went into double overtime, It was 73-73 at the end of the first period, and then first overtime ended 86-86, and then it was even closer. But then Syracuse pulled away. Final score, Syracuse 104, Youngstown State, the Penguins 95 in double overtime.
Riley, one of the biggest things that you can see here is the rebound total. Eddie Lampkin, Jair Davis, Donnie Freeman, all these guys are what Syracuse needed in this class, in this transfer and recruiting class, is height, and they've certainly got it here early on in the season.
And the three-point shooting has been a bit of a struggle for this team so far. Just 23% against Youngstown State yesterday, but there were a couple of shining stars. J.J. Starling, 38 points. And Donnie Freeman, he was big too. We were kind of waiting for him to put it together in this one. He scored 10 points against Lemoyne on 3 for 12 shooting, and he only scored 6 against Colgate. We're like, where's this bona fide 5-star recruit? But he really showed up yesterday against Youngstown State, finishing with a double-double.
Donnie Freeman yesterday, he's really getting comfortable now in a Syracuse uniform. As you see here, getting super confident, posting up, and with a little spin move, laying it up and in. Donnie Freeman, if he gets hot and he starts to build confidence, it's going to be real scary for opponents.
And he got hot in this one, very efficient from the floor, 8 for 13 shooting, 19 points, 12 boards, toss in 3 assists with that as well, and he had a big block also.
The McDonald's All-American is truly coming into his own. He's really starting to become that power forward that SU has needed all of these years.
Came in as the highest rated recruit since Carmelo Anthony. And you talked about it yesterday, Ari. The big commitment, Kyan Anthony, Carmelo's son, he's a bona fide stud too.
Yeah, all these young guns that Syracuse has with Donnie Freeman, Elijah Moore, them coming together and really building something here at SU. His percentages so far this season have been pretty decent for his first 3 games, but we'll see how he steps up coming harder opponents.
One of the better defensive players on this Syracuse squad, and he's been putting in work on the boards as well. And that's kind of come as a whole, what head coach Adrian Autry wanted to do, hit the portal hard. We need some more rebounding, and that's come from their transfers. 4-star transfers. This is the best transfer class that Syracuse has ever had.
Yes, with Eddie Lampkin, Jair Davis, Jaquan Carlos, these 3 guys have certainly been coming into their own here in an SU uniform. Jaquan Carlos has gotten off to a tough start shooting the basketball, but he's still been such an asset with creating lanes and assists for his teammates.
Yeah, Jaquan Carlos, an interesting case, did so well in those exhibition games. We expected a lot from him, and he has done well. He's changed the way this offense runs, but he's just shot 3 for 16 through the first 3 games. Not even 4 points a game, but those assists have been big. He doesn't need to necessarily score the ball every single game, be that big-time scorer, because they have those other 2 transfers too. Jair Davis, he's been putting in work, the big body, along with Eddie Lampkin. That dynamic duo has been really dangerous down low.
Absolutely, and the 7.7 rebounds per game and 9.3 rebounds per game for both guys, they don't have to rely on one or the other to get those rebounds. If they work in unison as well with the height of Donnie Freeman, these 3 guys have been carrying the offensive end, creating second chance opportunities for their teammates, and it's really showed in the first 3 games.
The depth has been huge on any other team. Jair Davis would be starting. He comes off the bench, and he really provides a spark. But it's not just about the transfers. We got some old faces on the team as well. Syracuse returns 2 of its 3 leading scorers from last season, and they've showed out big this season as well. J.J. Starling and Chris Bell, really good shooters we saw from last year, and it's carried over from this year. The experience from Adrian Autry's first season carrying into a second.
J.J. Starling, like you mentioned, has been absolutely incredible. Yesterday we saw him score 39 points for his career high. But one thing that I've noticed with Chris Bell so far is that he's only 4 for 18 on 3s this year. So obviously that needs to get better, but he's still scoring the basketball in so many different ways, despite that 3-point shooting being off a little bit.
Well, that 3-point shooting has kind of been a team-wide issue so far in this year, shooting right around the quarter mark, 25%. But he's the best returning shooter in the ACC. I think we'll see him step it up throughout the year.
And yesterday, J.J. Starling, he utilized his clutch gene. Down the stretch, he had 8 for 12 free throws in crunch time, and he knocked it down for Syracuse to ultimately take the win against a tough Youngstown team.
This Youngstown State team was a team that got dominated by Ohio State the game before, and then they put up a really good fight in the JMA Wireless Dome, taking the Orange to double overtime. And this was kind of the final tune-up that the Orange got to have, kept the first 3 games really close, and then they have a really tough upcoming non-conference schedule.
One of the biggest things for Syracuse so far is that they faced so much adversity in their first 3 games. Sure, it hasn't been pretty, but they are building a team chemistry and saying, hey, we can grind out these wins, and they're going to have to do that against tough teams, against Texas, Cornell, a ranked number 6 Tennessee team in the SEC ACC Challenge coming up.
And that's right before they take on Notre Dame to start ACC play. But this Legends Classic is really going to be an interesting test to see what this squad is really all about. They play a really good Texas team, and then they play Texas Tech or St. Joseph. You may say, well, we can chalk off St. Joseph's. But no, they're a pretty good team out of the Atlantic 10. We saw their women's team beat the Syracuse Orange a few games ago pretty handedly, and they actually already beat Villanova. So they have a Power 5 win on their resume. This Legends Classic is really going to show what this team is made of. We saw it last season in the Maui Jim Maui Invitational, and Syracuse didn't look too good. Kind of sent some panic waves throughout the fan base, but I think if this team can gel together with these new faces in this tournament, might be the place to do it.
Yeah, like you mentioned, with those panic waves, I think every single SU fan is having those waves currently after 3 close wins. But Syracuse is going to have their hands full. And if they could get production from those guys, J.J. Starling, Chris Bell, all those returning guys, plus their depth which they have gotten, they'll be just fine heading into this tough stretch.
And Syracuse 3-0 men's basketball, a team that's not winless on the Hill, is women's basketball. Through 3 games, they're below 500. We're going to talk all about how that's been going down right after this short break. Stick with us.
The highly anticipated Syracuse football season is here. New Orange coach Fran Brown has ignited unprecedented excitement and built a talented roster. The Dome has a new look too, with chairback seats throughout. Season tickets start at just $99. Don't miss any of 7 Dome games, including Miami's first visit in over 20 years. For tickets, visit cuse.com/tickets.
On the spot, 10 seconds on the clock, gonna show 'em what we got to offer. If you want, you can make it to the top, gotta focus on the goal. The winner takes all, pass the ball, reach for the stars, no stopping us. Winner takes all, the winner takes all.
The highly anticipated Syracuse football season is here. New Orange coach Fran Brown has ignited unprecedented excitement and built a talented roster. The Dome has a new look too, with chairback seats throughout. Season tickets start at just $99. Don't miss any of 7 Dome games, including Miami's first visit in over 20 years. For tickets, visit cuse.com/tickets.
Welcome in to Syracuse, New York for our Hilltop Huddle Syracuse Sports Show. We're talking all about them. We talked about football. We've talked about men's basketball. But let's talk about the women's team, a team that's struggled so far this year. Welcome into our studios. I'm Riley Underwood, joined alongside Ari Feinstein. And this is a team that got their first win of the season, and then they lost to St. Joseph's by 14, and then they host a top 15 Maryland team in the JMA Wireless Dome. And they kept it close, but didn't come out with the win.
Yeah, the biggest thing for this Syracuse team so far is really struggling to find their identity. They lost Aisha Fair last year going to the WNBA, so they've really just been trying to find that player who will step up.
And in this one, it was kind of a lack of physicality, not closing out on those open shooters. Both teams shot really well from behind the arc. Syracuse went 8 for 18, that's nearly 50%. And Maryland shot 50%, 8 for 16 from 3. So both of these teams shot it really well. The free throw disparity was concerning, though. Maryland got to the line 24 times. Syracuse only 10. A lot of Orange in foul trouble. Isabel Verajao got in foul trouble early. She fouled out only 13 minutes.
And one of the biggest things also here is the turnover differential. You know, the first 2 games, Syracuse, they have really struggled to turn the ball over. They had over 50 in their first 2 games. Here, they did a little bit better against a tough Maryland team, but they still have to keep limiting those turnovers if they're going to come out on top against these tough opponents.
And that's why they kept it so close. About 30 turnovers both the first 2 games, and that's why they weren't doing too well. But they limited the turnovers. They play arguably pretty well against a very nice Maryland Terrapin squad, and they've had some key players to do that as well. And it's been Georgia Woolley, Sophie Burrows, Kyra Wood. They've kind of been carrying the load for this team. And how about the two Aussies, Georgia Woolley and Sophie Burrows, their stats this season so far?
Yeah, Georgia Woolley, she was phenomenal last year and really coming into her own this year. Last year, she got to work with Deasia Fair and Alyssa Latham, but now with both of them gone, she's really stepped up into her big role. Sophie Burrows as well, 11 points per game. Last year, she didn't see the floor too much as she was stuck behind Elena Rice, but now this year, 57.1 field goal percentage, and look at her three-point percentage, 67.5. 2 of 3 of her three-point field goals she's been able to knock down.
Georgia Woolley and Sophie Burrows had big games, 17 and 13 points respectively, and combined they shot over 50% from beyond the arc. And another player that's had a good game against Maryland was Kyra Wood. We kind of saw her a little quiet in those first 2 games, but she finished with a double-double. She's big on the boards for the Orange.
Kyra Wood has truly been remarkable. Her, as well as Dominique Camp, as well as those 2 freshmen, Shy Hawkins and Kira Scott, all 4 of them having the height that they do has been a tremendous help for this SU team. And
they're going to have a chance to rebound, get back to 500 this afternoon. Right after our show, we're going to have tip-off of the Syracuse Fairleigh Dickinson women's basketball game, and that's a pretty good night squad.
Yeah, when looking ahead here, looking at this UAlbany squad, Syracuse is going to have their hands full. I mean, UAlbany, they're still undefeated. They're going to have to go through point guard Kayla Cooper, who's currently averaging 21 points and 9 rebounds. So SU is really going to have to game plan around her and make sure that she doesn't get hot early so they can stay in this one.
And similar with the men's team this tournament, this time they're going down to Florida. I think I'd rather have that than going just 4 hours down to Brooklyn. But they're going down to Florida, and they're playing a team that struggled from the ACC in Missouri, and then they get to play Creighton or Wichita State. That tournament will be a major test for this Syracuse team.
Absolutely, and even after these next 5 games, they face a really, really tough Notre Dame squad. On that Notre Dame squad, they have 6 players that are averaging over 10 points a game, so they're playing really sound basketball.
Something that was really big in that Maryland game, second chance points, and that's where the Orange excelled. They were crashing the boards. They had 25 compared to Maryland's 8 second chance points. Before we go, we're going to have some final thoughts from Ari. Overall, Syracuse, this week in sports, what have been your takeaways?
This weekend has been a pretty good weekend so far for Syracuse sports. They won their game against Cal. They won their game against Youngstown. Women still have to do their part later this afternoon, but so far so good. Obviously, Syracuse fans have some room to be concerned about their close win against Youngstown, but overall, so far so good. They need to figure out these next few games before the men's team faces off against Texas.
So for men's basketball, are you hitting the panic button yet? Syracuse is 3-0, but those 3 wins against non-power teams have come in a pretty close margin.
Yeah, Riley. At the end of the day, 3-0 is 3-0. 3 wins are 3 wins. On the scoreboard right now, Syracuse, one of the top teams in the ACC. Sure, it doesn't look like it based off their play, but right now they are 3-0, and Syracuse fans can be happy with the fact that they are 3-0 and didn't drop one of those close games to those non-Power 5 conference games.
Also have one of the most talented rosters and probably the most depth from top to bottom in the entire Atlantic Coast Conference. I think once they gel, they might figure it out a little bit more. Right after this one, we're going to have coverage of the Fairleigh Dickinson Syracuse women's basketball game, see if they can get it back on track. For Riley Underwood, Ari Feinstein, thank you so much for joining us on Hilltop Huddle. I'll see you next time.